People interested in sports and sports drug testing often ask why some drugs not allowed in sports and others are, and why some drugs banned at some points and others at all times. This is governed by the World Anti-Doping Agency and their prohibited substances list. Last week, WADA released their list for 2018 with some small updates. So how do they do that? They look at each drug and they have a panel of experts, doctors, toxicologists, sports scientists, medics, who look at the drug from 3 different angles. The first test is whether that drug has the ability to enhance performance. The second is whether the drug has adverse health effects for an athlete. And the third is whether it is against the spirit of sport. If a drug fails 2 of those 3 tests, then it will be added to the prohibited substances list. Whether something is against the spirit of sport is often questioned as being a kind of a slightly woolly statement. And that's about ethics, integrity, fair play, respect for others, and so on. So that can act as a bit of a catch-all at times. Health is fairly easy to look at. Are there real dangers to an athlete from using that drug? And whether it enhances performance or not. Are there measurable ways in which that drug can increase speed, strength, endurance, recovery, and so on? So this year they had a few minor changes to the list. The first notable one was around asthma drugs, salbutamol. They've limited it to 1,600 micrograms of salbutamol per day, a maximum of 800 micrograms per 12-hour period. So a standard blue inhaler is a metered dose, and that mine has 100 micrograms per dose. So I can use that 8 times in any 12-hour period. Above that, you would have to be starting to get therapeutic use exemptions. Another one that's gone out is glycerol, which was used as a masking agent. Apparently could increase or make it more difficult for people to detect drugs in samples. That's been removed from the list. The volume of intravenous fluids allowed has been increased or has been clarified to 100 millilitres for every 12 hours instead of 50 millilitres in 6 hours, which is what it was previously. An interesting one is cannabidiol has been removed from the prohibited substances list. That's an extract of the cannabis plant. It's a non-active ingredient in cannabis and is used in a lot of oils and extracted, used in hemp seed oil and that kind of thing. So that's no longer on the prohibited list. The other more interesting one is that in some sports, at some points, alcohol is banned. So that's been removed from the World Anti-Doping Agency list. So all of those sportsmen in motorsports and flying sports, where it was prohibited beforehand, archery, they're now going to have to look at it from a sports perspective rather than World Anti-Doping Agency overall perspective. So they break that list into substances that are banned at all times and substances that are banned only in competition. Substances banned at all times generally have longer lasting effects, building health, endurance, strength and endurance and so on. And the in competition only drugs are stimulants mainly, things that just give you a little extra pep on race day or competition day. The final category is that they also have a monitoring list where they look at substances to evaluate how widely they are misused in sport, and they add a few and take a few off that each year. An interesting one to be added on this year is hydrocodone, which is a painkiller and often available in hydrocodone and paracetamol doses for mild to moderate pain. So there have been a few changes, not major ones this year, but if you are an athlete, I'd get that checked by your team doctor, your pharmacist, coach, and everyone else that can do. There's a website available called Global DRO where you can look up every drug and it will tell you the status of that, whether it's banned in competition or out of competition. So that's just a very brief overview of why some drugs are banned and others aren't, and when they are and when they aren't, and who controls that, the World Anti-Doping Agency. So thanks for watching. I'll put links to all of that in the blog post below. Thanks.